Today, we're going to dive into a fantastic old tale about a king, a father, in a really tough spot, and three questions. Three questions that you just couldn't solve with normal, everyday thinking. This story is just a brilliant masterclass in how real wisdom, true cleverness, often comes from looking at a problem from a totally different angle.
So first, let's meet King Vikram Singh of Bharatpur. Now, this king was known far and wide for being incredibly generous, but there was a catch. Before he'd give anyone even a single coin, he'd pose a question. If you got it right, you could ask for whatever you wanted, but if you failed, well, you left with absolutely nothing. And this one little rule is what sets the entire stage for our story.
So here's where we're headed. We're going to follow this family's incredible journey, starting with the father's big problem, then we'll walk through each of the three riddles one by one, and finally we'll see how they're rewarded for their amazing wisdom.
Okay, so at the heart of our story is a man named Kishan. He's a poor Brahmin, and his daughter's wedding is coming up fast. The problem is, he has no money for the ceremony. He's desperate. So he decides to risk everything and go face the king's challenge. He's not going by himself, though. He's smart enough to bring his two incredibly sharp sons, Aja and Vijay, along with him.
Now here's what's so cool about this first test. The king doesn't just ask some simple trivia question. Nope, he starts telling a story, and he basically asks the Brahmin to write the ending, to provide the only logical conclusion.
The king's story is all about a certain Princess Padma. She has to pick a husband from four very, very different suitors. The first guy, a super clever cloth merchant. The second, he can literally understand what animals are saying. The third is a renowned scholar, knows all the sacred texts. And the fourth, well, he's a warrior, a master archer who's so skilled he can hit a target just by hearing it.
So there you have it. You've got a businessman, a guy who talks to animals, a scholar, and a warrior. Who is the right choice for a princess? This is the question the king puts to the Brahmin.
And the Brahmin's answer is it's perfect. He doesn't get distracted by their skills, he looks at the social logic. He explains that the merchant, the animal speaker, the scholar, they all belong to different social classes. But the archer, he's a kshatriya, a warrior. And since Princess Padma is also a kshatriya, the only proper, fitting match is with the warrior. The king is seriously impressed. Okay, one down, two to go.
All right, next up is the second riddle. This one's called Fire in Paper. And this time, the king looks to the first son, Ajay, and challenges him with another story that needs a ridiculously clever solution.
So the story goes like this. There's a poor farmer named Raman, and his mother is deathly ill. He needs money for a doctor, so he goes to this greedy moneylender. The moneylender agrees to help, but only if Raman can fulfill one impossible condition. He has to bring him fire in a piece of paper and wind in another piece of paper.
I mean, just think about that for a second. How on earth do you hold fire in a piece of paper without it just burning up? And how do you carry wind? It sounds completely nuts. The king turns to Ajay and asks, so how did he do it?
And the solution is just a beautiful piece of out-of-the-box thinking. Ajay explains that it was actually Raman's mother who figured it out. For the wind, simple. He folded one piece of paper into a fan. You wave it and presto, you've brought the wind. And for the fire, he took the other piece and crafted it into a paper lantern so it could safely hold a candle flame inside. So simple, but absolutely brilliant. The king just loves it.
And now we come to the final challenge. And this one might be the trickiest of them all. The king turns to the second son, Vijay, and he doesn't tell a story this time. He gives him a direct, straight-up command. This is a pure test of abstract logical thinking.
The king's command is a complete paradox. He tells Vijay, go out into my kingdom and come back with two people, a man who has never ever told a lie in his entire life, and another man who has never ever spoken a single word of truth.
Just let that sink in. It sounds totally impossible, right? Who has never told even a tiny white lie? And who has never said a single thing that was true? People like that just don't exist. So what is Vijay supposed to do? How could he possibly succeed?
So Vijay leaves the court, and when he comes back later, he's only brought one man with him. The king is confused, but Vijay explains. The man is mute, he can't speak, and because he cannot speak, he has never spoken a lie. And for the exact same reason, he has never spoken the truth. He perfectly fulfills both impossible conditions by finding a brilliant loophole in the problem itself. And with that absolutely genius solution, the test is over. The family has proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt, how clever they are. The king isn't just satisfied, he is genuinely, deeply impressed.
So the king, true to his word, but also just moved by their incredible wisdom, declares that he will personally pay for the entire wedding. He realizes that this family's real wealth isn't in gold or land, it's in their minds. And that's a treasure he's more than happy to reward.
So the big takeaway here is pretty clear, right? These three impossible problems weren't solved with brute force or money. They were solved with three different kinds of creative thinking. There was social logic, there was practical reinterpretation, and there was abstract paradox. It's just a powerful reminder that the best solution is very often the one you haven't even considered yet.
And that really leaves us with one final thought. The Brahmin and his sons solved their massive problem by looking at the questions differently. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's the paper fan or the mute man in your own life? What's the simple, elegant solution that might be hiding in plain sight for your most complex problem?